Um, it's funny because the next single on my new record that's coming out is called Embrace, and it's a ballad, which I never thought in a million years I'd have a sing. Well, I never thought the label would release a single that's a ballad,
Mm.
and it when I tell you, ooh, it's great.
That's
That
it.
it's called Embrace. All I got to say is it's grown folks music for grown
Okay.
folks business. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. I
Gotcha.
just
Gotcha. Add that to the other playlist then. Say this is Darren Williams with 12 More Keys, and this is another episode of Chop Talk, is where we sit down with musicians, singers, and producers, and we just talk about their music journey. And so today, before we even get into it, please, I want you to like and subscribe to this channel. And before we introduce our guest, I have another guest. My good friend Angie is hanging out with me today.
Hello,
And
everyone.
yeah, what's up? What's up? We've been rocking together for a long time
Yes,
too, working
yes.
together. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, but I just got to introduce him this way. I just want to just give you a few points on this brother right here. Our guest today has been on Billboard at #1 for multiple weeks with multiple songs. He has worked with music icons in gospel and jazz. He has performed locally, internationally, and currently sits at #1 with on Media Base for 7+ weeks. He has his own jazz station on Pandora and so many more accomplishments that, as the book of John said, that Jesus did so many miracles that they couldn't even contain in the book. So, so with that further ado, introducing Randy Scott, everybody.
thank you. Thanks for having
Yes, sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
And like we were saying before we jumped on to this, Angie and I go way, way back. We've been great friends for a very long time. So
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, we just kind of briefly had a little bit of discussion about your music career and just being that #1, man. How does that make you feel?
But not
amazing.
number one, not only number one,
Uh,
number one, four back-to-back
yeah,
#1 Billboard. Let's go.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go,
yeah.
Thank you.
Randy. Listen,
Thank you.
before you start to his point of how long we've known each other,
Hmm.
the struggle is real, y'all. This man's been doing this since before college. I met him when he was in
Yeah.
college,
Yeah.
and I sang background with 2 other girls for him while he was in college. He invited us to do that. We had our little blue dresses on, looking so cute. But anyway, we did a show with him, and Randy and I never stopped. Like since then, just like
Yep.
how me and you are.
Right,
We
right.
never stopped being friends. And so I know the journey is what I'm saying.
Yes.
This was long overdue. So
Yeah,
please
Thank
take it
you.
away.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and Angie actually sang on many of my records.
Really? You
Many,
didn't tell me
yep,
Because I
that.
don't be want people to know.
yeah, many
I'm
of the
a
records.
business lady now.
So yeah, you know what? It's just all been such a blessing. I can't describe it any other way. It almost feels surreal,
Hmm.
like I'm gonna wake up and be back in my parents' basement still practicing, you know. But I'm just grateful, and it's to be honest with you, it is nothing but God and prayer and the relationship that I have with Him and other people praying for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what really makes it sweet is that I literally almost gave up
Mm.
just before that last, and I won't say I shouldn't say gave up in terms of quitting music altogether. It's just the record business can be a certain way, as we
Hmm.
most of us know, and it was just causing lots of frustration. But
Hmm.
right when I was about to say, forget it, I'm just gonna, do whatever I do.
Hmm.
Um, that's when things really started to happen, and I'm just so grateful. And there's a long story behind how it even happened as well. So I don't know if you want me to start from there,
Yeah, yeah.
or if you want.
Let's hear it.
Okay, well,
It's on you,
um,
bro.
So here's what happened. So the last record, um, well, let me back up. So my record deal is a little different than most. I try to fund the entire project
Mm-hmm.
that I do, all of my projects. The label, of course, would contribute whatever, but they own whatever they pay for.
Right.
So I just try to do my own thing. So I ended up spending, I don't know, 15 to $20,000 on recording and writing and all of that stuff. The last record, the Elevation record. Spent maybe a little over 2 years working on it. I felt really good about it. Sent it to the label and they hated it. They're like, this
Mm,
is no.
mm, mm.
And I think it was from the standpoint that it was really edgy. Like it was crossing the line of what might be considered radio friendly. So um so they said, well, we want you to work with this other producer and have him do the whole record. So I after I got over that, because it was like a deep cut, like I felt
Yes.
just
Yeah.
messed up for months. I didn't want to do anything.
Mm,
Um Ended up hooking up with this other producer who was phenomenal. He's got a Grammy and a whole slew of Billboard number ones. We did one song and it was great. But then he got busy and then something came over me and I just started writing. I mean, I didn't tell anybody. I just literally just it just started flowing. And
mm,
before I knew it, I had rewritten the entire record
wow.
and um, resent it to the label and they loved it. And to have gone through all of that, you
Mhm.
know, um, having to redo the whole record in the matter of, I don't know, 4 or 5 months after I was working on it for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Um, it was a bittersweet moment, to have it be received like it was. So, and that record had three number ones, which is just amazing to me. So
Yeah.
I cannot, you know what, as horrible as it felt at the time,
Hmm.
um, I'm grateful for that because it caused me to have a better record. And
Yeah.
it made me better. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
learned so much in that whole process. And I think the biggest lesson was just humility. It
Hmm.
the whole thing of just being torn down to nothing, especially with it being something that I have spent my entire life trying to
Mhm.
work on and perfect and practice and all of that. And then for it to be just torn down in an instant and then
Hmm.
having to rebuild, it caused me to be humble and receptive to
Hmm.
criticism enough to make changes, and out came this much better record. So I don't regret that whole thing. I'm grateful for it.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just part of that process. So yeah, that's what this most recent time in my career has consisted of, and not many people know that story.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah. Thank you.
sharing that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we know, we understand the pressing, right? We all
Hmm.
have to go through the pressing before
Yes.
we get that big break. And they always say, right before you get the big
Yes.
break, it's when you want to quit. So you know it's on the horizon. And
But
I'm
you don't believe it until it
no,
happens.
no, because you're
Yeah.
in it, right?
Yep.
You're the
Yep.
one in
Yes.
the trenches. And I
Hmm.
always think about one sermon that I saw from TD Jakes. It was talking about um being wounded and getting to the end of that. You know what I mean?
Yes, 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 yes.
Um, what was it? He called it faithful wounds.
Okay, okay, yes,
Faithful wounds. I thought that was so profound
Hmm.
yes,
because
yes.
you have to keep your faith and you have to
Hmm.
understand that God is being faithful through your trials. But those
Yes,
are faithful wounds. And
Yep.
when you get to
yes,
the end, you're like, God, thank you for that.
yes,
Thank
yes. That is right on
Yeah.
point.
And we
Yeah.
always want to give the most high his,
Oh,
his
absolutely.
proper right. And you did
Hmm.
that. but you want to make sure also, like Snoop Dogg, you thank yourself because you were being obedient. You were obedient, right, to what God
Yes.
wanted you to do. So you got to
Sure.
thank yourself too.
Right.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And I think it's so important that when you talked about just a minute ago about how you were humble enough to take the criticism
Mhm.
and still be able to use that to continue on and to
Yes.
finish your album, because I think a lot of times some people can take that and just be like, nope, I'm done, you know.
Oh
Just-
yeah.
yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that was my first reaction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, when it happened, I was like, okay, I think I might be just done, you know.
Mhm.
And especially from an artist standpoint, because you know, most of us don't want to, as artists, we don't want people telling us
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
to do and what to not do, because we're artists, you know, art is free.
Yeah.
But that is one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of us make,
Mhm.
you
Mm.
know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, thinking about the fact that you've been doing it for 30 years,
Yeah.
right?
And nothing else had been
And,
working.
yeah. But where I was going with it is you've been doing it for 30 years. So who can come in and tell me about Randy Scott? Who can tell me about
Yeah.
my thing? You know,
Mhm.
and we do have to humble ourselves. And sometimes that is
Yes.
God humbling us, saying, look,
Yes.
okay, you know, you don't know it all.
Right.
So get in here and do
Surely.
what you need to do and get to the
Hmm.
end, because I have 4 back-to-back billboard number ones waiting on you. Do you want this? If you want this, come
Right.
somewhere and take in what these people are saying. So I love it.
Yeah.
And if anyone had told me that before,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have believed it.
Mm.
You know, I mean, because it's just mind blowing. I would never have thought that I would have had that kind of success.
But it's
Mm.
your time.
Yep.
I mean,
Thank
you've
you.
been preparing for such a day as this.
Mhm.
Mm.
So to be surprised is humble.
Yeah.
Very humble. But I mean, you've been preparing for this day. And for it to
Yeah.
never happen would just be
True.
awesome. It
Yeah,
would just be awful.
Right.
So thank
that's
you
true.
for being Randy Scott.
Right.
Thank you. I mean,
Uh,
first of all, you're the coldest ever
Oh, for
at
sure.
what you
thank you.
do. And
Thank you.
to see you in person is an experience in itself.
Mm,
So I've just been blessed to know you and to
thank you.
be able to experience your talent, your God-given talent, and your
I
family.
appreciate
Love
that.
your
I
family,
appreciate that. Thank you.
by the way. I don't know if you ever talk about your family, but
Oh yeah.
he does have a wife, y'all.
Yeah.
So back up. He's got a wife, and he has 2 beautiful children,
Thank you. Thank you.
and a dog. So
Yep.
just know
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Funny story about your wife, man.
Uh-huh.
I saw that you posted a picture one time of her.
Hmm.
I was like, man, she looks familiar. So
Okay.
then I really realized that she was a doctor when you had posted something about her being a doctor.
Yeah.
I broke my foot some years ago.
I know where this is going.
So I went to the doctor and she happened to be the doctor. I didn't really pay that much attention until later on. The next time I went back to get the cast off, she was like, "Have you been walking on your foot?" I was like, she said, "Do you want to be?" She started fussing at me about like, you know better. If you want to get off this cast, you better stay off your feet. I'm like, okay, man. So then when I saw her, I was like, that's his wife. Yes, I thought that was funny.
She has treated all of Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
amazing
cool.
family, amazing father, amazing
Thank you.
husband,
Thank
amazing
you.
talent. We're just so grateful to God actually for
Mm,
making good on his promise, because that's all he did.
yes. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And I'm still working. You know, a lot of people look at me in surprise when I say this, but I'm taking private saxophone lessons, you know,
Oh,
because I just feel like you never stop
yeah,
learning and growing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I've been, you know, I always try to find people who are much better than me and learn as much as I can.
Mm.
Wow, there's someone out there that's
Yeah.
much better than
There
you.
are many. There are many. Listen, all you got to do is go on YouTube and type in saxophone. You'll see some little kid in Malaysia killing me,
Exactly.
playing me under the
love that.
table.
I love
Right,
that.
right.
Continued growing. That's what we have to do. We have to continue our growth and get better and get to the top. And then when we're at the top, we got to get to another top. So I love that.
I did that just last week. I typed, I don't know, I was on YouTube and I saw this saxophone player from some other country. Like, I was like, God, it either makes you want to quit or practice. So
I have a question for you musicians. How do you listen to someone else and decipher that they're better than you or that they're more experienced than you? What is it that you're hearing that you're not doing, that they're doing?
It could be a lot of things. Like for me personally, I'll give you a perfect example. Kirk Whalum. He's my favorite contemporary saxophone player right now. So I listen to a lot of different people all the time. And what I love about his playing is that although he can play anything, he can take 3 notes and make them the sweetest 3 notes you ever heard in your life with the emotion and the passion that he puts behind his playing and his tone. And, you know, the ultimate goal for me is to sound like a vocalist through the instrument. Like I want to sound like I'm singing. Then there are other people who are technicians. Like they don't play with a lot of emotion, but they can play very technical things super fast and clean and hear every little thing. And I study that, but that's not my preference. My preference is to have this gorgeous sound,
authentic, coming from the soul.
Yeah, like a vocalist. And I think what the ultimate goal for me is, and somebody said I've gotten this, but I don't know, is to have my own voice. You know, because for example, there are 100,000 saxophone players in the world, and all of us are playing the same instrument. How do you distinguish one from the other? And so that is my ultimate. That's what I work towards, is having my own voice. You know, for example, you can turn on the radio, you hear a whole bunch of singers, but you know when it's Stevie,
right?
And you know when it's Whitney, and you know, you just know because of the tone and the whatever they do. You know,
that's so interesting that you would say that, because many a times I've known it was you without knowing it was you. So you do have your voice. You do. I'm serious. I listen to a jazz station that's on YouTube. I forget the name of it, but you've come on without me knowing that you have a single out or whatever, and I'll go, "That's Randy."
Wow.
And it goes off, and he'll say, "Randy Scott," and you do have a voice, Randy. You may be too close to it to kind of hear it, but those of us who listen to you, we know your licks, we know different things, different sounds that you use, and we know that that's you. So just so you know, you have it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I believe I do. But that, you know, that's something I've just been working on so hard, you know, just trying to make sure that I have my own sound.
You do. But you do.
But yeah, that's something that so the original question was, how do you determine if someone is better? It's just certain little things that I know that a musician knows theoretically when I hear them play. Some of which I might be lacking. So, or some technical thing that they can do that I can right off the bat say, okay, I cannot do that.
I can understand.
Actually,
as a vocalist, I understand.
Perfect example. I'm a huge Gregory Porter fan. So I went to see Gregory Porter last month, I think. He was here in Detroit, and his saxophone player, Tyvon Petticott, is phenomenal. And he did some really technical, flawless thing up in the stratosphere in something we call the altissimo register, which is super high notes. And immediately I said, oh God, I cannot do that. And so the past 3 weeks, that's what I've been practicing.
I love it.
You know, so little things
always
like
trying
that.
to get better, right?
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Randy also has a brother and a mother and a father.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Ryan, I grew up with him too, and he's a phenomenal producer. People don't get to see
Songwriter.
much of
Yeah.
him, but producer, songwriter, he's
Mhm.
amazing. And I just wanted to shout Ryan out. Love you, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan actually he did he and I co-wrote 2 songs on the new record that's coming
Okay.
out. And that's something I forgot to mention. My new album is completely done.
Yeah,
Praise
it's
the
Okay.
Lord.
coming out April 19th.
April the 19th.
There you
I'm
go.
so excited. It was supposed to come out in January. They moved me back a little bit to April, which is actually worked out nicely because I'm planning to do an album release concert on the day of the release on the
Oh,
19th.
nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So still working on, I think it's going to be at Triumph North, which is the former
Okay.
Millennium Center, but
Yeah.
I will put out stuff as soon as it's finalized.
Okay.
sure.
Please do so we can share it. And I'm a
Yeah.
member of Triumph too. So
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
And I also have going on the road quite a bit in the next month or two, but also have a big show at Shane Park,
Oh,
the
nice.
Aretha, I
Yes.
should say.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
June 12th with June 12th with Will Downing.
Nice.
Okay.
That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, is he
that'd be cool.
opening for you?
No, he is not.
Well, he needs to be opening for you. Okay.
That's
But I
gonna
love
be a
it.
nice
Yeah,
concert
it's
for
gonna
sure.
be an amazing
Yeah,
concert.
it should be
Yeah,
fun.
we have to remember that so we can show support and let
Cool,
everybody
cool,
know. I'm sure everybody's gonna know anyway.
Right.
cool. And then I'm hoping to get back out with Stokely. We did some shows recently,
Ah,
so that was
I
nice.
love Stokely.
Yeah, Stokely is the man.
Oh
And
my
what's
God. Now
crazy is like,
that's a voice you want to follow
right.
with your
no, for
riff.
sure. So it's funny you say that. We have a thing in the show. We go back and forth, and
Oh, nice.
but what's amazing, the last show that we did in Minneapolis, he sang, but he played drums the whole show.
Yeah, yeah,
And
he's a
and
beast.
but I mean to play and sing
Yeah,
is just mind blowing to me.
yeah.
But you know, so
That's
yeah, it's
amazing.
been
So you're
cool.
going back out with Stokely later this year?
Possibly. So
Okay.
he is Sean LaBelle, who's another contemporary jazz artist,
Mhm.
has been responsible for putting these shows with Stokely together. So I'm just waiting to hear back from him when the next one is. So I'll let you know.
Yes.
Cool, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just love everything God's doing in your life,
yeah.
Randy.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. It's been a
Well
blessing.
deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So let me ask you this: is there anybody in particular that you have like met as a musician that you were like, "Whoa, I can't believe I just met
It's a
this
good
person"?
question.
Oh, that is a good question.
Because I know you
Actually, yeah, there's a few. One would be Nancy Wilson.
Oh,
So
okay.
I did some shows with her, and it was like surreal. It was like it's like it's Nancy Wilson.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah,
real like I really had a star moment.
yeah, yeah.
And then we did something in LA some many years ago. But she's one. Aretha is one.
Hmm.
Um,
Mm,
trying to think who else. As far as shows, those are the two that stand out the most because
mhm.
I mean they were like the biggest stars. But I've done some recordings with some that were really pretty cool too, especially working with Fred. I worked with Fred Hammond for several records. I
Okay.
think a total of maybe 7 or 8 records.
Oh, wow.
I got to do something on. Um, and that was really cool. And
Mhm.
it led to I did a recording for one of actually the New Nation, Fred Hammond. I mean, not Fred Hammond, Kirk Franklin record.
Oh, okay.
And then that led to working with Rance Allen because he was like, well, who did the horn arrangement on blah blah blah, and
Oh, that's
so
nice.
yeah, that was pretty cool. So then Rance came and I worked with him on 3 songs, and they got placed on this Gospel Wild compilation record,
Mm.
and it went platinum. So that was really cool.
Oh, yeah. That's
Um, so it's been cool. It's been great, you know. And then early in the early days, around the time when Angie and I were working together, I was working for Michael Powell for a short time,
Mm.
um, producer for Anita Baker and all these other folks. So
Mhm.
I learned a lot from him, you know. But yeah, it's been a blessing.
So on the flip side of that, who do you want to work with today, contemporary?
Right off the bat, and I hope this can happen on my next record because it didn't happen on the last one. I was trying. Layla Hathaway
Oh,
is
Let's go.
right off the bat.
Oh my
That's the
God.
one.
If you
That's
do that, I want to be in the studio.
yeah, me too.
and so I'm good friends with like one of her very best friends. You know,
Oh.
Bonita Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Bonita
Well,
Lewis.
her name
So
sounds
I'm
familiar.
hoping. Well, Bonita used to play drums for me,
Mm.
in my band for years,
Mm-hmm.
and she moved to
Yes,
LA, and
I remember her. I do
yeah,
remember her. I
and
do.
she mixed one of Layla's records. Anyway, that's my connection. I'm hoping
Yeah,
it'll work out.
yeah,
It will work out. It will work out. He gave you everything else. Why wouldn't he give you?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I would say definitely her, and then I always wanted to do a song with Jonathan Butler,
Oh,
and and I don't know. Those are the ones that really stand out.
yeah,
Yes. Love Jonathan
yeah.
Butler
So
and
Very good singer.
Layla.
Yeah, both of them.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So I gotta ask, like, well, I'm gonna take you a little bit down from the beginning.
Mhm.
So, why did you even start playing saxophone? What made you start playing saxophone?
My mother, I wanted to play the drums,
Uh,
um, just because they look cool. And my mother was like, "No, you're gonna play saxophone." She's like, "Look," and so she had every Grover Washington Jr. album that
oh
Oh,
yeah,
existed.
Grover
wow.
Watch. Yeah,
So, and when I say album, I mean album.
yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
So, so like literally, she would have him playing all the time, and then she and my father took me to one of his concerts. And at this time, I was living in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, and it was sold out, packed. The crowd was like going nuts. I
Mm,
was like, that's what I want to do. So started playing saxophone in the fourth grade. Um, every day I would run home and put on a Grover record and try to play what he could play, what
mm.
he played. And I literally learned every note from every album that she had, which is pretty
Wow.
much all. I couldn't play all the notes, but I
Mhm.
learned them. I knew them in my
Okay.
head. So then when I turned 12, um, my parents, they knew how into Grover I was, and I had gotten a straight A report card one year, and my reward was to meet him in person. So they took me. He was filming a commercial for donating blood to the Red Cross. Took me to the commercial site, shoot. I brought my horn. Why did I bring my horn? I had no. I brought my horn. I don't know why I did that because I wasn't about to play in front of Grover. Um, but he ended up using my horn in the commercial, and it was cool. And
Yeah.
we became great friends all the way from that moment till he passed away.
Wow.
Mm.
And he was actually the whole reason how I even ended up in Michigan. So
Mm.
he, I would every time he was on stage, he would call me up on stage. I
Wow.
was trying to decide between Michigan State, and I had a scholarship to go to Berkeley and Boston. And um, he said, number one, follow the money, whoever's offering you the most money. But he said, secondly, you really want to make sure that you're um, keeping up with the classical thing, which
Mhm.
is going to develop your tone and technique and all of that stuff. And that's kind of how I ended up at Michigan State.
Wow.
Um, and then, every time he came to Michigan, he would call. One time I was recording a record. I was doing something at Studio A in Dearborn, and he had a concert in Royal Oak Music Theater. My parents went, and before the show, they were backstage talking to Grover. He said, "Where's the boy?" And they said he's in the studio. He got this big session, but he said, "Call him." So he calls me. I'm in the middle of the session. He said, "Where you at?" I said, "Well, I'm in this session." He said, "Get over here now." He said, "I'm in town. I was expecting you to be here." So I literally canceled the session in the middle of the session. I dropped everything, went over there. He put me on
Awesome.
stage. I was on stage the whole concert. It
Wow.
Awesome.
was just it,
Awesome.
and
Amazing.
it was just that gracious, giving, pushing me out there when I wasn't ready to be out there.
Uh-huh.
You know, all those type of things that really I'll never forget.
Yeah.
What a manifestation that is. Your mom
Yeah.
introduces you to his music, and then you end
Hmm.
up being great friends with them. That is amazing.
Yeah.
It
I love that
was because
story.
you know everybody was into Michael Jackson and Prince. I was
Yeah,
into Grover. That was
right.
I ain't care nothing about them. I was like Groverized. So
It's funny. I remember growing up, listening. He did a song with. I'm sorry. I think he did a CD with, or he played on a couple of songs with Marcus Miller, and I was a
hmm
big time Marcus Miller fan. So
hmm
he played. I was like, it was a. I forgot one song. I know it's pretty popular. I think it was called Wine something. I can't
Oh,
remember.
Wine
Wine.
Light.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was one of my favorite joints right there.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. Oh, I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I
Don't
know
get me
every note.
started.
I know every note.
I do have a question about your instruments.
Okay.
So as I was on randyscottonline.com,
Okay.
I noticed that you is it sponsor or something that for every one of well almost all of the instruments that you play.
Yeah, I
Talk
have
to us about
endorsed.
that.
I've got
Endorsement. Yeah.
endorsements. Yes, so
Yeah.
I've got several endorsement deals. The very first, this funny, the very first endorsement deal I ever got was for a company called Legier Reeds, and they're huge now. I mean, it's a multi-million-dollar company now, but years ago, when I first learned about them, they were just starting the company. It's a French Canadian company. The owner's name is Guy Legier. And so anyway, I sent them an email posing as my manager. I typed it. I said, "Yeah, Randy Scott is considering using your
I like
product."
that.
And you know, he's got blah blah blah, and sent him some of the stuff. And they're like, I'll send you his music, but you know, send us a sample, and he'll decide whether he's gonna." And they sent me samples, and I sent them a when I say detailed, I mean a detailed Excel spreadsheet analysis of all the reads they sent me. So they sent me different, because they were, like I said, they were just starting the company. I sent them a detailed analysis of what I thought about every single read they sent me. And the owner responded. He called me and he was like, you know, nobody's ever done this. Uh, let's work together. And I actually ended up helping them design the alto and tenor saxophone read, the
Wow.
initial batch of them. And then he came up here to Michigan, came to the house, and I took him to all the different music stores to try to help him get his product. And now he's like an international. I mean, when I say this company is major. If you just go on legierreads.com, you will see what I'm talking. Every major player is playing those reads.
Wow.
Awesome.
So yeah, that kind of led to having that endorsement, and then just being visible and touring and all that led to I think the saxophone endorsement came next with Yanagasawa saxophones. It's a Japanese company.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the Maserati of saxophones. They are very, very expensive.
Oh, okay.
But built really well. I just always loved those horns. I had other companies um offer me endorsements, but they are such quality horns that I had to jump on it. So
Mhm.
after that, started endorsing Theo mouthpieces. So they're mouthpieces that are made in Seattle, Washington. Company's called Theo. Um, they're pretty expensive, but they're really nice mouthpieces. I think one mouthpiece starts at like $600.
Wow.
Wow.
But they're really, really high-end quality mouthpieces. And then that led to the ligature endorsement. So the ligature is the piece that holds the reed to the mouthpiece.
Okay.
So I'm signed to a company called Silverstein Works. Um, and those are just fabulous because every little thing, every little component affects your sound. So
Mhm.
from the reed to the mouthpiece to the ligature, the horn, everything. And then the most recent endorsement, I did a rendition of, oh man, Stevie Wonder song, Love's in Need of Love Today. Right when actually, I think it was around the time that Trump was running for office, and we had all of that. We
Mhm.
had all of that
Drama going.
turmoil, racial
Mhm.
tension, all that stuff. So I did this song, Love's in the Need of Love Today, on the iwi. Iwi is this electronic wind
Mhm.
instrument, kind of like a synth that you blow through. And um, I had all the little boxes with me. I think it was like six of me on the screen
Mhm.
doing the harmonies and then playing the melody. So anyway, that clip got sent to Akai, the company that makes the iwi, and that's kind of how I got that. So it's
I remember the E. We've been playing it for a long time.
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
when you first played it for me. It sounds like someone's voice.
Mm. And yeah, that instrument's a little different.
Yeah, it is.
Most people that get it send it like me, almost sent it back after about a year of just sounding so bad. And then
I love
something,
the sound. It sounds
well,
like
no,
boop,
no,
boop,
it's
boop.
something clicked,
Yeah.
but it took about a year for that click to happen.
Mhm. Mhm. So sometimes just the right sound at the right time, and like, oh, okay, I can use this.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Sure.
it's just a whole different way of playing,
Mm.
that's what I couldn't get used to.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I love it now. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm about to start reaching out to some companies and
Yeah.
hey, look, let me
Keep it up.
Yes, because
Yeah.
this music gear. I don't care what music gear you trying to get is all expensive.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
You
absolutely.
know.
Hey, I gotta ask you this. Um, how do you, as a musician, as a recording artist, as a producer,
Mhm.
and being a family man and all of that, how do you balance all of that?
That should have been mine.
Oh, that's such a great question.
Yes, it
Mm,
is.
It so first and foremost, it's two things, and Angie, I know you can relate to this. Number one, changing your diet and eating right. Number two,
talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
working out consistently and getting enough rest. So you got to take care of your body first. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like so important. The hardest thing in the whole equation is sleep because there's only so many hours in the day. And so, I have tried because I have tried to get up at 4:30 and that does not work for me. I am a morning person. I will say that because I'm definitely not an evening person. I'm out at 9:30, bang. Unless I push through or
Mhm.
if I got a project I'm working on. But um just trying to set aside time to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah,
You just make time for what's important.
Yeah.
right. That's true.
So, but it is a challenge,
It is
Yeah,
a challenge.
nonetheless.
yeah.
It's
It
interesting.
is.
We were just talking about that before
Mhm.
this. I was talking to Darren's wife also about it.
Hmm.
And I even did a couple posts about people prioritizing themselves in their own life. Like people don't prioritize themselves in their own life.
Hmm.
And that's so important because you're your life. Like, what are you gonna do
Yes.
with it?
Right,
What are you
Yes.
gonna do if it comes out? None of this other stuff will matter.
right.
Right.
So I love the balance because you have,
Yes.
and it's good that your kids are older now, so that
Hmm.
is not the way it used to be when they were
Right.
smaller. And
Hmm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially as we get older, I'm getting old and it's like if you and I look at people who are my same age that look 10 times older than me because they're
Yeah.
not taking care of
Yeah,
themselves.
Hmm.
that's
So
true. That's
so
true.
Clearly.
yeah, that is so hard though. I mean, I don't get to practice like I want to practice. Like I really wish I could have a
Yeah.
designated time every day. And I try to do that. And it works out nicely at school. Like I teach school for those of you that don't know. And it works out pretty nicely in the middle of the year because on my breaks, after I get through with the beginning of the year, because I'm starting beginners sometimes,
Mhm.
the middle of the year to the end of the year, on my breaks, I'm practicing. And that's every day. So that works out. Then in the like when I get home, I'm the cook in the family, so I do gotta do that.
Okay. Okay.
But after that, I normally work out, and then from the rest of the time, I'm down here in the studio. So constantly writing and recording and stuff like that.
So it seems like you're very regimented, which is good.
Yes.
You have to be when you have
Yep.
a career such as yours, and then you have the career of being the music teacher at Bernie. Is it still Bernie?
It is, but I am now guest lecturing at Michigan State, so that's
And
pretty
and
cool.
then so the lecturing at Michigan State, adding more to the plate. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good that you're regimented, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
people need to understand that you do have to be regimented in order to get through these hours these
Hmm.
small hour blocks of time that we
Right.
have.
Right.
So I love
Right.
I
Indeed.
I have to ask you this. Now, I know hopefully this won't catch you off guard too much, but
Okay.
um I've thought about this as a musician. What do you think in performing was one of your most embarrassing moments as a
Oh,
performer?
that's easy. That is so easy.
such a good question.
It is.
I can't
It's
wait to
a
hear it.
it's a great question, but it's so easy. So here's what happened. Now, I had been playing the national anthem ever since I could play the horn. I've been playing the national anthem for events.
Mhm.
And major events. I used to play the national anthem on a regular basis at the Pistons game
Mhm.
back when um Rasheed Wallace was playing and Jerry Stackhouse. I ended up doing Jerry Stackhouse's New Year's Eve party
Okay.
and played pool with most of the team,
No.
like pool, So it was I used to doing the national anthem. So there's this one situation. It was a national wrestling tournament, like real wrestling, not the WWE stuff.
Okay.
And ton of people. It's huge place, ton of people there, and the announcer. So if you can picture, I'm in the middle of the arena. There's just one light hanging over top of me. Every bit place else is just blacked out, and they give me this huge, just phenomenal introduction, and all this. The announcer just sound. I mean, he was just phenomenal. So I start playing, and it's going really well. And in the middle of the anthem, there's this little, we call it a spring. It's a little ride on the instrument that came undone
Mm. Mm.
to the point where I could only play two notes when that happened.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
So I literally played the whole second half of the anthem on two notes. Da 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 da. Two notes. The audience thought I didn't know it, so they start singing to try to help me out.
Oh no.
That was clearly and when after the whole thing was over, when I actually tried to figure out what was wrong, it took me 15 minutes to fix it. It's
Mm.
not one of those situations where I could have stopped, and
Right.
it was so bad. It was so
Um,
humiliating.
oh,
Everything can't be perfect.
yeah.
No, that was the most embarrassing performance. Now I've had a humiliating
Oh,
situation as well.
oh.
So here's what happened. So I did a show in Dubai, which
Mhm.
was fabulous. Got pickpocketed in Amsterdam during my layover to Dubai. Okay, that was red flag number one. Now they pickpocketed me from my front pocket. I had my wallet in my front pocket.
Yeah,
Now,
that's why I used to carry mine. So.
yeah, now listen, I couldn't even be upset. I'm like, look, y'all good. I can't even be upset with that.
Right.
Strong
Um,
day. Thank
yeah,
you.
yes. So, and unfortunately, my record label took care of everything, so I didn't have any issues, and it was fine. So, I did the show. The show was fabulous. Dubai is fabulous.
Mm.
Coming back home, I had to go back through Amsterdam. So me and Amsterdam. So here's what happened. Not long before, I don't know if you guys remember the underwear bomber that flew from
Yeah.
Amsterdam to Detroit.
Mhm.
Well, this happened not long after that situation. So they had several additional checkpoints and added security, especially because my flight was going from Amsterdam to Detroit. So they definitely racially profiled me because I was questioned up and down. I was the last person to come through the final checkpoint. So the final checkpoint, there's another metal detector, and then once you clear it, you sit in a waiting area before getting onto the plane. Now the whole plane had been through.
Mhm.
Tim Bowman, jazz guitar player, he was with me on this trip, and my wife was with me. They had been through. So I'm the last person because they were questioning me before. So I'm the last person. The detector didn't go off. The guy frisked me, and I had a business card in my back pocket. In the corner of the business card pokes him a little bit. He says, "Ow, something shocked me."
Oh man.
Now that's like saying I have a bomb.
Right.
So I knew I had nothing to shock him. So here, 6 police officers and a police dog come out.
Oh my goodness.
They bring this, and I'm thinking, oh God, they're planting something on me because I don't have anything to shock him.
Right.
So my initial emotion was just straight fear. I was like, oh Lord, what's gonna happen? So I thought they were gonna take me away somewhere. They rolled out this pole on wheels with this black curtain. Mind you, the whole plane is watching this. They're seated watching this. Pole, black curtain with a circular thing on it. They pull the curtain around me, strip search me,
What?
cavity search me,
Ah!
Wow.
and then let me go with no apology.
Wow.
So I went through 3 major emotions. First, fear. Second was sheer rage. Like I was literally
Yeah.
thinking, I'm about to punch this dude in his
Right.
throat.
Right.
And I was thinking, oh, I'll never get home if I do. And then the third emotion was just embarrassment. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. So I get through. I'm coming to the area where everybody is. My wife is like asking me 1,000 questions. I said, listen, I love you, but please don't talk to me right
Right,
now.
right.
In the meantime, Tim Bowman, my boy, is cracking up. I mean, he is cracking up laughing.
No.
Yes, Tim, I'm calling you out. He's oh man, he is cracking up.
Gotta
So
have them on so you can
Right,
actually
right.
do that.
yeah. So then, we're flying. It's a 19-hour flight. We flying. Every time I get up, everybody's looking at me like, yeah, that's the one. Let's watch him. They just watch me. They're watching me as I walk everywhere. It's so crazy.
Oh
So
man.
crazy.
But the good part is that they have the curtain around, so they don't know you got cavity search.
Oh, they know.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they wouldn't.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry that happened to you. That's
Yeah.
awful because you were much younger then, so I can only imagine.
No, well, this wasn't that long ago. This was
Oh.
probably, when was this? This might have been well, this was like 2015.
Oh,
Oh wow.
okay.
Yeah.
That's when the underwear bomber was around. I thought that was
Yeah.
you were young, much younger. Okay. Awesome.
I think it was 2015, or it may have been a couple years prior. I'm thinking about when that record came out.
The last 10 years happened.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sorry that happened to you.
Be
Well,
like,
it makes for a good story. So.
It does. It does.
right.
And the end that your friend laughed at you was even better.
Oh God, he was cracking up laughing.
Unbelievable.
Like, bro, like we need to talk.
So what's besides our April 19th launch, your album release, what is Randy thinking about for the next 5 years? What are your plans? What are your intentions for the next 5 years?
That's a great question. Well, I'll tell you right off the bat is to get my kids out of school. That's number one.
Well, you got one halfway through.
Oh gosh, this that Michigan State bill. Whew.
And I know what your parents felt too. You know what
I'm
they.
just, but I had a
Oh, you
scholarship.
had a full scholarship. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh
That's
God.
for
And I
sure.
just, I want them to not, I want them to be debt free. We
Yeah,
want that.
absolutely.
So, but anyway, just continuing to put out great music and um work with people who I love and respect and admire. Um, the whole touring, traveling thing. I mean, it's cool. I'm grateful for every single gig. I just,
Mm-hmm.
so it can sometimes wear on you as you get older,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
you
can
know.
imagine.
Living out of a suitcase and
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But it's still cool. And I'm in a catch-22 because I don't post all the places that I go because I don't want folks knowing I'm not at home.
Right,
Right,
right, right, for
exactly.
sure.
But it's hard because I want them to know so they come to the show.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's just a crazy situation, but
I get it. I get it because I never post when I'm out of town. And I know
Yeah,
that's on a different level than you, but I'm saying I just don't post that I'm out of
sure,
town.
right.
sure.
For
Yeah,
that same reason.
Yeah.
they get pictures
So
when I get back. You're like, yeah.
right. But that my whole goal in life is just to be happy and have joy. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's really success.
Yes, it
I
is.
don't I don't really care about any of the other stuff. Honestly, I mean, I'll continue to try to put out really quality music and make people happy, but my goal is to be happy and joyous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy your life.
That's all
Yes.
that matters. That's all that matters. Happy kids,
Yeah.
happy spouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
But more than that, prioritizing yourself to be happy first.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I love that.
Yes. So yeah.
I have one more question for you then.
Sure.
On that note, um, what is the best advice that you can give for upcoming musicians, maybe trying to play saxophone?
Great question. I'll answer it from the perspective of any musician, not just saxophone
Okay,
players.
okay.
Um, Number one, and I hope folks listen to me when I say this. Do not be afraid to supplement your income. You know, I see so many of my musician friends who struggle trying to just do music because they want to. I've heard some famous people say you should only have an A plan,
Hmm.
um, because then you're more focused and you go
Mhm.
after that A plan. But there's nothing wrong with supplementing your income until you get to that,
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
where you want to be. Um, that is first, because you got to take care of yourself and your family,
Hmm.
period.
Yeah.
Right.
It sucks being poor and broke, and so that's one. Two, save, plan, and invest.
Mhm.
So you don't have to have a B plan. Save, plan, and invest, but you got to have something to be able to save something.
Hmm.
So, and then thirdly, from a musical standpoint, know how to play the piano, learn piano, even if it's basic, but the piano is the universal instrument around which everything else happens when it comes to putting music together.
Hmm.
It's certainly hone your skills as a vocalist or as a saxophonist or a trumpet player, whatever.
Hmm.
But that piano is so essential because it opens your ears to harmonies in a different way than if you're just an instrumentalist or a vocalist on another. So piano is essential. And then constantly perfecting the craft. So what I do is every few weeks, I study a different artist. And I'm not talking about saxophone players. It could be a vocalist, it could be a keyboard player, it could be a tuba player. Anybody who I think sounds amazing. And I study them and then I'll pick out something in their recordings or what they do live or whatever that I think is the sweetest thing ever. And then I try to, and something short that I think is really dope. And then
Mhm.
I'll just practice it and practice it, and I'll practice it in all 12 keys, and then I'll make it a, then I mean, I sleep, think, and drink it until it becomes a part of me where I can pull that and put it in one of my solos.
Hmm.
But but to the point where it doesn't sound manufactured. You know,
Mhm.
it sounds like me, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
just doing this sweet thing that this vocalist did, or this,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So that is a really big part of my practice. Um, some people technically call it transcription.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think I think those are the keys. That and prayer. You know,
Hey,
everything revolves around that.
absolutely.
Having said that, what artists do you study
Oh, that's a great
in
question.
terms of the vocal artists do you study for the licks?
Um, you know, I'm good friends with, I haven't talked to him in years, but Jay Moss is one,
Oh my
Yeah,
you
God.
yeah.
know.
Jay,
But yeah, we went to Michigan State at the same time, and we would always trade licks, as they say. Um, um, who else? Lately, Gregory Porter, because
Okay.
I
Mhm.
told you I was into him. The quality of his voice and what he, just I can't even describe it, and that's what I love, that I can't describe it. That's what I'm trying to emulate. Layla,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie Wonder, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Um, those vocalists primarily, and then as far as instrumentalists, right now I'm studying a young saxophone player who was on tour with Marcus Miller for quite some time. His name is Alex Hahn.
Mm.
He's dope. Tyvon Pennicott, who's Gregory Porter's saxophone player. Kirk Whalum, I study him for tone. Um, then I listen to other styles of music, and that's another thing that I would recommend. Other styles of music for different reasons. So, for example, I'm not a Fleetwood Mac fan, but
Mhm.
I'm a fan of the way their records sound
Mm-hmm.
sonically. Like sonically, they sound amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So does Sting. I'm a Sting fan, but his records sound amazing. So what I would do is look on the back of the record and see who mixed it,
Mhm.
and I would either email or call them if there's a number there. But most times I email them, and we end up having 2 hour long conversations.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Like, all right, what did you do on that Fleetwood Mac record? Like, what did you use, and what was your thought process? And I have pages of notes of doing that with different artists,
Wow.
people that you probably would not recognize. I mean, you'd
Mm-hmm.
recognize the artist, but you wouldn't know who mixed it.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's I love that part of it, because
Yeah.
then you get to really learn,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not from a book,
Right, right.
you
Exactly.
know.
I
Hmm.
have an artist to offer because
Sure.
I have a girl vocalist crush on her right now.
Who's
A-
that?
Alex Isley.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay, I will check her out.
Oh my
I'll check it.
gosh.
I will check her
Really?
out. I know I've been in the hole. I don't. I've
Oh
been.
my God.
But I'm gonna check her out.
Alex Isley.
I'm a huge her fan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um. Um. And I don't know if you know Anisha Burchett. But she's here now. She was in LA, working with Rodney Jerkins, but she wrote Justin Timberlake's record, a
Mhm.
whole bunch of records songs she's written.
Mhm.
But anyway, she did a song or two on the last Her record,
Oh,
and
okay.
she's amazing.
Mhm.
And she ended up doing a song with me
Nice.
on my last record called Tempo.
Okay.
So, but Anisha Burchett, you should check her out. She
Is she
is the
singing on it on the one
hmm
you're talking tempo? Okay,
Yep.
definitely check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in
Yeah.
love with everything that's going on right now, Randy.
Well, all
Like,
right. I
honest
appreciate
to
it.
God, I just love it. I
Thank you.
love your new
Thank you.
single. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to hear the record. The whole record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's another level from the last record.
Okay.
So
Good.
it's it
You
was
know,
because
my
everyone
song on
has
the
been
last one was Daydream. Daydream.
daydreams.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was a
daydream.
That
nice
was my
song.
song.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I got
Yeah.
that on my playlist too.
You know what's funny
Andy
is
and asked him what he was thinking when he and he said there was a story to it, of course.
yeah. Um, it's funny because the next single on my new record that's coming out is called Embrace, and it's a ballad, which I never thought in a million years I'd have a sing. Well, I never thought the label would release a single that's a ballad, and but when I tell you, ooh,
That's
that
it.
it's called Embrace. All I
Okay.
got to say is it's grown folks music for grown
Okay.
folks business. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. I
Gotcha.
just
Gotcha. Add that to the other playlist then. That's what's up. Hey
So
man,
I'm excited.
Randy.
And by the way, that comes out on April 22nd,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
the next single. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, Randy, man, we appreciate you taking out the time today, man, to talk
Thank
to
you.
us and chop it up with us, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
My
Every time
pleasure.
I talk to somebody who worked with you, everybody says all good things about you. So,
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
so it's a blessing, man, to be able to work with such a humble musician who's
Thank
a
you.
gifted
Thank you.
musician at the same time. So really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Anything else with you?
Just I love you, brother.
Love
And
you too.
yeah,
Love you too.
and I'm excited for your success and your
Thank you.
future and
Thank
all
you.
the best.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate both of you. Thank you.
All right, for sure.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us with 12 More Keys. This is another episode of Chop Talk, and we appreciate you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and we will see you next time. Peace.